To present to you the graduate who has achieved the highest cumulative average in the class of 2010, our valedictorian, Mitchell Faulk.
Welcome, administration, faculty, parents, guests, students, and 2010 graduates. 50 years ago, Boylan Catholic opened its doors to its first students. Now, only pictures, stories, and memories serve as a testament to their time here at this school. Their experiences, however wonderful or dismal, however great or small, however enlightening or bewildering, will remain trapped in the past as antiques collecting dust on the shelf. Or will they? Last year, we began our final 2 semesters at this school. Now, on this day, like for those students of 50 years ago, pictures, stories, and memories are the only remnants to which we cling, our portholes to the time that has passed in the past 4 years. Do we look upon this day in gloom, departing from our beloved homes? Or do we approach the future with anticipation, prepared for the next stage in our lives? The answer is ambivalent. Only a bittersweet acknowledgement that this day will certainly entail a bit of mourning, but also that we have accomplished a major goal, one that is worth celebrating. We are definitely on the brink of some major change in our lives. We are leaving one stage and stepping into another. But our success in the next stage comes from the recognition of the fact that life is not merely a series of transitions where we must replace all that we have previously learned, but rather an uphill journey where we must learn from experience, holding on to our most important memories and using them in the future. Our memories do not need to be kept solely as antiques, used to remind us of the past. They should be utilized, practiced, and put into effect in our everyday lives. We, the class of 2010, have experienced the best that Boylan can offer. Do you remember when, our freshman year, the basketball team went down to state and we missed classes to see them play? Or when the soccer team performed the same feat a couple years later? How about those theater productions like Thoroughly Modern Millie, or recently, The Children of Eden? Or perhaps you attended the Pops concert and heard the best that Boylan music can offer. Or maybe you watched your favorite Boylan team, be it volleyball, golf, tennis, or swimming, win the regional title while you ecstatically cheered from the sidelines. Or perhaps you were a player yourself. Maybe you took advantage of the numerous clubs that Boylan has to offer. Key Club, Voice for the Unborn, Mock Trial, Green Club, the language clubs, all gave their members some form of knowledge, something that regular schoolwork could not convey. But perhaps, in addition to all these other commitments, schoolwork was your thing, and you have already realized the purpose of receiving a Boylan education. Yes, these other accomplishments are great, and the skills that they own are invaluable, but they lack the basic substance from which a school is based, education. Whether we recognize it or not, through the past 4 years in the classrooms at Boylan, we have been given the knowledge, skills, and tools for our future lives. The raucous games and entertaining successes will forever remain a part of our memories, but it is the teachers whom we should never allow ourselves to forget. It must be recognized, if it hasn't already, that the fruits of a Boylan education are truly one of a kind. To find a school more dedicated to its purpose of instilling upon its students a Catholic education would be a difficult task. To find a more welcoming and driven group of students, a more open and challenging faculty, a more proud and noisy group of fans, impossible. We here at Boylan are blessed with an amazing community of people. We are not to take these God-given blessings for granted. I hope that we can realize the underlying truth of these past 4 years. I speak to the student in each one of us, the child in us who questions, the scientist in us who explores, the artist in us who creates. Let's not discard what we have learned at Boylan High School. If, in the future, we face daunting challenges, let's not be afraid of the uncertain path ahead. Our time at Boylan has given us the skills to succeed. These skills are not tangible, however. Like works of art, they leave the audience with a feeling that cannot be described with words, but with only a certain image, a certain way of thinking, a certain consciousness of new thoughts and concepts. You sense a change, however subtle, in every aspect of your life, in the way you look at people on the rainy sidewalk, in the way you smell coffee in the morning, in the way you hear the first sounds of a song on the radio. But the change becomes part of you and impossible to describe unless you acknowledge the past. So although some of us may doubt that we are prepared for the future, that we have been changed, this is simply not the case. Each one of us, through our personal experiences here, has grown in ways that only we can chart, on our own walls with our own yardsticks. None of us look or act as we did on our first day of classes freshman year. We have embarked upon an adventure with myriad obstacles, each obstacle presenting to us a variety of opportunities. Opportunities to challenge our former beliefs and to grow. Be it academically, athletically, socially, or spiritually, we have all grown in one way or another. But we are simply taking our first steps in this great adventure of ours. So let us take our new selves and put into practice what we have been taught for all these years in the hope of inspiring others. A year ago, a few fellow students showed me that hope existed for this great school of ours. They practiced its ideals perfectly. It was a stormy evening after tennis practice, and my brother and I were driving home on Riverside. We had recently repaired a flat tire that we thought would hold up through these rough conditions. We were wrong. Right after Alpine, we noticed what sounded like a bass drum beating on the side of our car. We were bouncing down the road, confused and panicked. Mason checked the tire. It looks all right, but accelerating after the stoplight, the bouncing had only gotten worse. By the time we reached a road where we could pull over, the car sounded awful. I held the steering wheel tightly, waiting for the tire to fall off. But we made it to Pepper Drive, and we got out of the car. A kind Boylan classmate, driving through the neighborhood, asked us whether we needed some help. We said yes, and he went to go get something to remove the tire. Then another Boylan student offered his assistance, and yet another. We had barely been there 10 minutes, but 3 students had offered their help in the cold, rainy weather. I have been inspired about my education through the actions of others who have put their beliefs into practice. Certainly this behavior is indicative of the type of education received here at Boylan, one of its ideals achieved through practical action. But this type of behavior does not have to end with those students. It can come from each one of us. Everyone here has the opportunity for action, however large or small. Let it be done with the zeal of a Boylan alumnus who has not forgotten those days spent at his or her alma mater. Let nothing stand in your way as we proudly display our Boylan education. We owe something back to this great school of ours. Let us return the favor through our futures, where we can achieve only what a Boylan student can achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitchell. Bishop Dorn, the administration and faculty of Boylan Catholic High School